Tom Silva showed up on your TV as the quiet, nice carpenter from Massachusetts. But when the cameras weren't rolling, he was living a totally different life. Since 1999, he's been secretly paying for something that would shock even his biggest fans. Only 3 families know the real story, and they promised to keep it quiet. It has to do with big wildfires in California, bad storms in Massachusetts, and a secret foundation nobody knew about. When the news finally got out in 2025, everyone found out Tom's biggest secret. What he's been doing with his money will blow your mind. This is not the Tom Silva you thought you knew. Tom Silva was born on January 17, 1947, in Lexington, Massachusetts. He grew up in a house where everybody worked all the time and every hand helped. His dad worked with stone, and his older brother Dick was already learning the job. So Tom was the little kid in a family that said you have to earn your skills every single day. When he was tiny, he watched his dad fix stone walls around old houses in New England. By the time he was 8, he already knew how to mix the sticky stuff for stones with his own hands. Their house was even partly built by family members, so it felt more like a big workshop than a regular home. Tom helped his dad stain furniture, used old tools that gave him splinters, and learned to be super careful by messing up little things. When he was 10, he grabbed a hammer by himself and started building small sheds with his uncles. He also got a scar on his left hand when a sharp tool slipped. He still has that mark today, and it reminds him how young he started. From 10 to 16, the projects just kept getting bigger. One job really stuck with him forever. His family decided to dig a fallout shelter under their super old house from 1787. It was the Cold War, so everyone was scared. Tom helped dig a giant hole, 20 feet by 40 feet and 12 feet deep, just using shovels. They pulled out huge rocks, built the walls, and finished everything by hand. It took 2 whole years. When it was finished, something clicked inside him. He knew building was what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. It wasn't just about putting pieces together. It was about the rhythm of work and the happy feeling when something new stands up from the dirt. Those days made him who he is and got him ready for everything coming next. After he finished Lexington High School in 1965, Tom did something most people didn't expect. He turned down a college scholarship. He felt books couldn't teach him what real jobs could. His family's past pulled him toward working with his hands, and hearing that his great-great-grandfather fought in the Battle of Lexington made him proud to do work that lasts forever. He trusted his hands, more than anything, and that feeling pushed him forward. In 1966, when he was only 19, Tom and his brother Dick started their own company. They opened Silva Brothers Construction in Arlington with 1 pickup truck and $500 in tools. A lot of the tools were borrowed. At first, they took any job they could find. Little attic fixes, easy upgrades, small changes for people nearby. They got 10 jobs that first year, all because people told their friends. Everyone saw how hard the brothers worked and trusted them. That cold winter day became the start of a company that lasted for decades. 2 years later, Tom did his first kitchen job all by himself in Belmont. He had to make special oak cabinets using only hand tools, no electric saws, no big machines. A huge snowstorm held up the wood truck, but he still finished the whole kitchen in just 12 days. That job paid $2,000, a ton of money for a young guy. The homeowner told everyone, and more people started calling. Tom learned fast that never giving up and doing great work got you farther than anything else. By 1970, Silva brothers started doing roofs, and Tom came up with a cool trick, using old barnwood under the shingles. Not because it was easy, but because it was right. Then he spent more than 400 hours cutting joints by hand. It was slow and hurt his hands, but every cut was exactly how they did it in the late 1700s. When it was done, you could feel the realness. The New York Times wrote about it. Old house groups loved it. Builders all over the Northeast started copying his respect for old ways. That one forgotten house made his name start traveling everywhere. 2 years later, in 1992, he was back on the show fixing a problem every old house has: uneven floors. Most builders just stuff in little wood pieces and hope. Tom wanted something better than hope. During a big fix in Belmont, he invented what people now call the Silva shim way. He used thin cedar pieces stacked super smart so he could get the floor exactly level without forcing it. That little trick stopped cracks and squeaks and let the floor move a tiny bit naturally. People at home saw the difference right away. Trade schools all over New England started teaching it. If a house built before 1900 had saggy floors, this became the main fix. Even today, carpenters still talk about it like a secret rule. Then, Beitisifter brought a moment that could have been really bad. Tom was doing a live demo on the show, cutting with a handsaw, calm as ever. All of a sudden, the saw blade broke and flew back toward his leg. He got a deep cut. Everyone on set froze, but Tom stayed chill. He wrapped it up right there on camera and joked, "Tools have minds of their own." People loved it, not because it was scary, but because he didn't freak out. That clip got played over and over in special episodes. It also started bigger talks about staying safe with tools on TV and real job sites. The lesson was simple. Stuff happens, but a real pro stays in control. By 1995, the show took him to a Newton attic job, and this time it got personal. His nephew, Charlie, was working with him, learning the ropes. The attic needed special carved supports made from butternut wood. Tom said those supports were important for looks and strength. Charlie wanted store-bought ones to go faster. They argued hard. It wasn't just about wood. It was about what you think the job should be. Old, careful ways, or new, quick ways. In the end, Tom won. The job turned out awesome, and later Charlie said those tough rules made him a way better builder. In 1996, Tom made his company even better. He added a real woodworking shop. It wasn't just new machines. He went old school. He fixed up a planer from the 1920s himself, so it could make perfect glued panels. Those panels ended up in a big Boston Museum show about real American building the hard way with old tools. The exhibit got attention all over the country. People saw you could fix old houses without killing their history. Tom kept proving it over and over. Years went by, and the jobs never stopped. In October 2002, his first Ask This Old House episode aired. It was a super old house in Woburn, Massachusetts, with a slate roof that kept leaking. Slate roofs can last more than 100 years, so people think they're unbreakable. But Tom found the real problem. Heat and cold over years cracked exactly 47 tiles. The wood under the roof didn't have enough air, making it worse. He didn't just slap on cheap fixes. He replaced every cracked tile with new ones he made to look exactly like the 1800s ones. It took days and special tools. Viewers learned something cool. Even tough stuff needs love. And real slate work is rare for a reason. In spring 2005, another house needed him. This one was near the ocean, and the hardwood floors were bending and lifting because of wet air. Replacing everything would cost a fortune. Tom didn't rip it all out. Instead, he dug a deep trench all around the room. 4 inches dose, and built a secret system to pull moisture out. The trick came from super old cellar ideas used to keep grain dry. Old trick, new stuff. The wetness went down, the floors relaxed, and the owners saved around $10,000. It felt like a smart, hidden fix, and it spread fast to everyone in wet areas. But all that hard work started hurting his body. Years of lifting heavy stuff and bending finally caught up. In 2007, he had 2 big back surgeries super close together. He had to stay off the show to heal, but he came back just weeks after the second one. He never showed he was in pain on TV. The crew moved schedules around, and he wore braces and stood careful so he could still show the moves. That comeback was in a special behind-the-scenes episode, and it reminded everyone the job isn't just skill. It's tough on your body, and you pay for every cool thing you see. By 2010, Tom was still trying to mix old and new the right way. He did a bunch of episodes about energy-saving windows in an old 1920s house. The owners wanted to stay warm, but keep the house looking old. Cheap plastic windows were popular, but Tom said no. He made custom mahogany windows that matched the original wood, then sealed them super tight. In the first year, heating bills dropped about 30%, hundreds of dollars saved. The big lesson was easy. Old-style materials can beat new ones if you build and seal them right, and old houses can feel modern without looking modern. In fall 2012, a stormy day in Maine made him think fast. A house was about to get flooded, and the storm was already there. Tom built a quick gutter system using old copper pieces. They cut it to fit, nailed it on in the rain, and saved the house. The way they filmed it felt like a rescue. The video blew up with DIY fans because it was fast, cheap, and smart. Using recycled copper made it feel extra cool and practical. By 2015, the company was big enough that Tom started handing daily stuff to family. He gave the main control to his nephew, Charlie. They had 25 workers and made about $5 million a year. But Tom didn't vanish. He still showed up every week to check jobs himself. That saved the day in 2016. He saw a huge mistake in the framing of a 2-story addition. A main wall was wrong and could have made the whole thing fall. Tom caught it in time. The homeowner didn't lose tons of money, and the crew learned no detail is too small if you want to sleep okay. In 2018, the world started wanting green building, so the company changed too. Tom built a garage in Arlington with solar panels built right in. It wasn't just slapping panels on top. He made the supports from bamboo because it's strong and better for the planet. Then a big hurricane with 100-mile-an-hour winds hit. The garage didn't budge, barely any damage. The job won a Green Award and showed old-school building could be super modern too. In 2019, they got burned by a bad supplier. They ordered great wood, but junk showed up. Thin, cracked, useless. It was a scam, and they lost $50,000. Tom went straight to the supplier, refused to pay, and got lawyers involved. After a lot of fighting, he got most of the money back and made all their rules way stricter. The story went around as a warning. Good work needs good wood, and you can't be nice about it. By 2020, Tom started thinking more about passing things on than getting bigger. In his backyard on a simple table, he taught his 14-year-old grandson how to make dovetail joints. He showed the old way he learned years ago, But this time, he made the kid wear safety glasses and gloves, stuff Tom skipped when he was young. It was a quiet moment, but it meant a lot. Skills matter. Staying safe matters. And family matters enough to teach it all. Then, in 2022, a big job came, fixing a 300-year-old inn in Lexington. The huge pine beams couldn't be replaced if they got ruined. Tom watched every step, adding hidden steel supports for earthquake safety, while apping the old look perfect. They hid modern brackets inside the wood, so the history stayed the same, but met today's rules. Old house experts loved it, city people loved it, and for Tom it felt like coming full circle. He started saving a 1790 house, and now he was still doing it, just bigger. Tom walked into 2023 with the same steady hands he always had, even though the world looked totally different now. When he went to Austin for a special episode about 3D printed houses, he didn't just look. He grabbed a drill and tested the walls himself. They looked smooth and fast, but when he pushed, he felt weak spots only real wood joints could fix. He said the future might be best when machines and old ways work together. When the episode came out in early 2025, builders argued for weeks. Some said he was stuck in the past. Others said he was seeing something important. Everyone agreed he made the whole industry stop and think. Then 2024 hit, and Boston was crazy when Tom did a woodworking class at a huge trade show. People lined up from sunrise. Over 5,000 people packed the hall, the biggest crowd ever. Tom didn't rush. He took a cherry board and spent 2 full days turning it into a dining table. The coolest part was when he hand-planed the wood for 48 hours straight. The sound filled the whole place, and everyone leaned in to watch the wood get beautiful. After, more than 80% of the people said they were going back to hand tools instead of machines. Stores sold 35% more old-school tools because of him. But early 2025 was tough. In January, he fell off a ladder on a job in Massachusetts and broke his hip. Doctors said people over 70 usually need months to walk again. He listened, then did it his way. 6 weeks later, he was back on the show teaching a new safe ladder way. Little steps, slow moves, stop every 10 feet to check balance. Older fans wrote letters saying his story stopped them from falling too. Right after, he and Charlie built a tiny house with zero waste. Every piece of wood counted. They used old barn wood for everything and turned scraps into shelves. It became a 10-part online show that over 1,000 people followed, and tons of tiny houses started popping up because of it. Charlie said the trick was Tom's rule: waste nothing. Even with all that, Tom was thinking bigger. By late 2025, he was 78 and still checking jobs at the company. People thought he might retire. He just shook his head and said he'd build as long as he could breathe. He started writing a book about mistakes, doing the right thing, being patient, and the quiet moments that made him who he is. One part talks about one bad nail that once caused a huge problem. It changed how he treats every piece of wood forever. The book comes out in 2026, and everyone's already excited. Away from cameras, he has a sweet, simple life. For over 50 years, he and Susan go to Portuguese festivals in Massachusetts every June. In 2025, the Provincetown Festival was June 27 to 29, and over 10,000 people came. Tom carves wooden rosaries. His grandpa taught him in the 1970s. Organizers always ask him to show how. People there feel like he belongs to the festival. At home, he hangs out in his little Arlington shop full of tools from the 1950s. He fixes up super old planes, chisels, and levels, some over 100 years old. Collectors say his stuff could sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars. One rare saw from the 1820s cost him $50 at a barn sale in 2015 and is worth about $5,000 now. He sells the fixed tools and gives all the money to kids learning the trade. Every tool has a story, and he brings them back to life the old way. And then there's the secret that shocked everyone. By 2025, he owned 200 old saws, one of the biggest private collections in the country. The star is that super rare 1820s saw, shining like it belongs in a museum. But behind the saw hobby was something way bigger. Since 1999, he's been quietly paying to rebuild houses for families who lost everything in California wildfires and Massachusetts storms. 3 families got new homes because of him. He never told anyone. People only found out because someone saw the Silva Brothers Foundation show up and help with no thank you needed. Even though he's never on social media, millions copy his tricks on YouTube. Over 10 million views a year. People rewatch old episodes, study his joints, and hunt for old tools because of him. Tool shows sell out fast now. Online groups argue if his ways are still the best. And tons of carpenters say they started because they saw Tom fix something on TV. In April 2024, he got a huge honor. The National Housing Hall of Fame put him in and celebrated his 38 years on the show. Surveys say he got over 50 million people to try home projects the safe way. He's now part of real American building history, not a small deal, and he never stopped teaching. Every year he trains 20 new carpenters with tons of patience. Since 2010, over 250 people learned from him, and they make 15% fewer mistakes than others because he teaches slow and careful. By July 2025, he started talking about one last big special episode for the show. He said he'll step back soon, and the special comes in 2026. It'll be 90 minutes with never-before-seen clips, funny set stories, interviews with co-stars, and memories from homeowners he helped. The producers are looking through thousands of hours of old tape to find the best stuff.